What if a simple delivery turned into a moment that tested a man's courage and saved another's life? Stay with this story till the end, because what this delivery man did next will restore your faith in humanity. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our channel for more heart-touching lost stories every week. In a world where stories speak louder than words, this is Black Inside USA. Real emotions, real people, real change. It was a quiet morning in the suburbs of Charleston. The sun had just started to warm the pale stone walls of the grand houses along Magnolia Lane, where everything always seemed still, almost too still. John Davis adjusted his navy blue cap, balancing the large package against his chest. He'd been working as a delivery driver for nearly 10 years. Rain, heat, or storms, nothing ever stopped him from completing his route. But today felt different. The last address on his list was an old mansion that stood out even among the expensive homes nearby. White columns, carved wooden doors, and sprawling gardens. The name on the package, Mr. Harold Whitmore. John had never met him, though he'd delivered to that address many times. Usually, the maid or a caretaker signed the slip, but that morning, the house was eerily quiet. He pressed the doorbell once. Silence. Then again, finally, the door creaked open. An elderly man, maybe in his late 70s, appeared. His once proud posture was now slightly hunched, his hands trembling as he leaned on the doorframe. But what caught John's attention wasn't his frailty, it was the dark red stain on his white trousers. It wasn't small, it looked fresh. For a moment, John froze. "Morning, sir," he said politely, trying not to stare. "Package for Mr. Whitmore." The old man blinked slowly, as if he were trying to focus. His lips parted. "Just leave it there, son. I'll take it inside." John hesitated. Something about his voice was off, weak, shaky, almost breathless. "Are you sure you're okay, sir?" John asked gently. "You look like you might need a hand." The old man tried to smile. No, I'm fine. Just a small accident, that's all." But when he stepped back, John noticed something else, the faint outline of a handprint on the man's shirt. Red. And behind him, through the open doorway, a trail of droplets leading into the hallway. John's instincts kicked in. Years in service had taught him to trust what he saw, not just what he was told. "Sir," he said again, this time more firmly. "Please, let me call someone for you." "No," the old man said, shaking his head slightly. "It's nothing serious." Then his knees buckled. John lunged forward, dropping the package and catching him just before he hit the floor. "Sir, hey, stay with me." The old man's breathing was shallow, his pulse weak. John quickly looked around and saw the living room, a beautiful but chaotic space. A glass had shattered on the floor, a spilled cup of tea, and on the marble, a small but clear trail of what looked like blood leading from the kitchen. That's when John knew, this wasn't just a fall. He grabbed his phone and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? This is John Davis, I'm a delivery worker. I'm at 45 Magnolia Lane, an elderly man just collapsed. He's bleeding, please, send help fast. Understood, stay on the line, sir. Help is on the way. Can you tell me if he's conscious? John placed the phone on speaker and pressed 2 fingers to Mr. Whitmore's wrist, weak, but still there. Yes, barely, he's breathing, but fading fast. Good, keep him talking if you can. John leaned close. Mr. Whitmore, can you hear me? The man's lips moved faintly. Kitchen, fell, tried to reach the phone. John followed his gaze toward the kitchen. There, near the counter, he saw another phone, off the hook. A pool of red surrounded it. The old man must have been trying to call for help. John grabbed a clean dish towel from the counter and gently pressed it against the wound on the man's thigh. Hang in there, sir. The ambulance is coming. Minutes felt like hours. John kept talking, about the weather, his route, his family, anything to keep the man conscious. You've got a beautiful home, sir, he said softly. Been delivering here for years. Never knew the man behind the door. The old man gave a faint smile. Used to have people here all the time. Big parties. My wife loved music. His eyes grew distant. She's gone now. After she passed, it got quiet. John nodded, still pressing the towel. You're not alone now, sir. You hang in there. Within minutes, flashing lights filled the driveway. Paramedics rushed in. John quickly stepped aside, explaining what had happened. They worked swiftly, lifting Mr. Whitmore onto a stretcher. Before they wheeled him out, the old man grabbed John's hand weakly. "Thank you," he whispered. John felt the pressure of that trembling hand, soft, grateful, desperate. Then the doors closed, and the ambulance sped away. That night, John couldn't sleep. The image of the frail man haunted him. He kept wondering what would have happened if he hadn't noticed. A few days later, he returned to the same address with another package. This time, a nurse answered the door. "Oh, Mr. Davis," she exclaimed. "Mr. Whitmore told us about you. You saved his life." John blinked. "He's okay," she smiled warmly. "Thanks to you, yes. He'd lost a lot of blood after a fall, cut his leg badly on broken glass. If you hadn't called 911, he wouldn't have made it." Relief washed over him. "I'm just glad I was there. Would you like to see him?" she asked. Inside, the house looked different, brighter somehow. Mr. Whitmore sat in a wheelchair by the window, sunlight warming his face. When he saw John, his eyes lit up. The man who wouldn't take no for an answer, he chuckled weakly. John smiled. "Glad to see you looking better, sir." The old man nodded. "You saved more than my life, son. You reminded me there are still good people left." They sat together for a while, talking. Mr. Whitmore shared stories about his wife, his days as an architect, and how he'd slowly withdrawn from everyone after she passed. John listened, truly listened. When it was time to leave, Mr. Whitmore handed him a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. "To the man who didn't walk away, you reminded me that kindness is still the most valuable thing we can give." A few weeks later, John received another call from the local hospital. Mr. Whitmore had fully recovered and wanted to set up a small scholarship fund in John's name for community service workers' children. John was stunned. "Sir, I can't accept that." But the old man insisted. "It's not a gift, it's gratitude. The world needs more people who care without being asked." Months passed. Every Saturday, John visited Mr. Whitmore. They'd sit in the garden, drink tea, and talk about everything from baseball to life lessons. And sometimes, they just sat in silence, two men from different worlds, connected by one moment of humanity. John never told many people what happened that day. To him, it wasn't about heroism. It was about doing what was right. But for Mr. Whitmore, it was more than that. It was the day someone knocked on his door, not to deliver a package but to deliver hope. If you've ever doubted that small acts of kindness can change a life, remember John and Mr. Whitmore. Sometimes, being in the right place at the right time isn't luck. It's purpose. Subscribe to our channel for more real-life inspired while emotional stories that warm your heart and remind you of the good still left in this world. Thanks for watching Black Inside USA. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because every story deserves to be heard.